So I'm going to, let me, I got it on the World Cup, but let me turn that off and just, be more focused, less distracted by the television set. And hair. Hair is like a little antenna for your noggin. Okay. So when you grow your hair, you connect to ancestors and descendants. And that's why the hair is very important. Muhammad talks about shaving your head after the Hajj and shaving the head. Because when you're in the company of the demonic and the self-righteous that are trying to destroy you, you need to keep your head shaved so you can isolate your signal to the Suzuki. His head was shaved, right? And then you have the top knot, the samurai with the knot and the long hair and stuff. And Nanigdiv with the long hair and stuff like that. But he was in an isolated community with people that wanted to live peacefully. Okay. But when you're in a city and you're a surgeon and people are not going to stop and they're not going to live the ways of the righteous and the eternally faithful, if you're one of those type, you're one of the prophets, apostles, and Mahayas, you're going to shave your head. And I would, I tried to grow my hair. I had it long, I've had it long certain times, and the hair was one of the things that helped me communicate better and listen and understand better. And then, but of course, when I joined the military, I had to cut the hair. When I came here and the military abused me, I had to cut the hair. And then the chemical poisoning and the stuff, and so you just had to keep cutting the hair. So I've been cutting. I was watching the kiddos on the World Cup, right? And Mr. Terry. So no, it's never been a problem of us. If you're a good source of communication for world peace, you can be bald. Dalai Lama me this, and Ditiro Suzuki me that. Yeah. Obviously, Judah Krishnamurti is the man that's most like Siddhartha, the Krishna and the Buddha. The Lotus Blossom Sermon, that's the line of the Tibetan line. Okay, so the Lotus Blossom Sermon is take this eternal humility and understanding and spread it north. Okay, and so in order for the message to get from the line of Krishnamurti to Suzuki through Sun Yat-sen, it had to go through Tibet. And that's the line of the Dalai Lama. You're talking about an isolated community that tries to stay away from everybody else because they don't want to be abused. Okay. And that's a little different than, well, that's what happened with the Japanese. Okay, but you're talking about a very violent, there's a huge difference between the Tibetans and the Japanese. Okay, the Tibetans aren't a warrior culture that you just see what I'm saying. Is came back and conquered the people that bullied them and sent them to the island. Okay, yeah, and so you invent an environment that causes these massive, vindictive, revenge-filled repercussions. We are your overlords. Right? Okay, so if you persist in running around, you'll be left with bittersweet memories. I swear I've seen you with almost every man in town. Right? I know that come what may, right? You better find another way. Yeah, if you persist in running around, you'll be left with bittersweet memories. You ever heard it? Oswald Tremizet? Okay. He had dreads. Okay. I don't, people, when you recover, a lot of the things I saw in visions with me and Gabriel Aviar in the future, but that was, it's probably always supposed to have happened by now. I will see how long, maybe it will happen. Maybe it'll happen in my 60s and I'll have long hair and tan skin, silver hair and feet of bronze and hair of, yeah, the bronze. Yeah, no, I get out in the sun and I get the sun I need and the healthy skin vitamins. I bronze. I used to make my sisters mad. He tans so much quicker and easier than you. I think it's just a guy thing in our tribalism. In our tribalism, guys tend to spend more time working outside and adapting to the sun in areas where we have to migrate than the females do. The men being a little bit more protected. The women have to stay and keep the babies in the house and yada yada. So that's why my sisters would burn more, and the adaptation to the skin, and and then you don't want them to turn into leather. Get to me your leather, take from me my lace. Right. So, I listen to prayers. I hear prayers when I connect to people in prayer, and you can feel and see their reactions. And so, you're hard on me. Well, don't be cocky. And then, yeah, well, when I was playing, I didn't root for my neighbors, but after I started playing, you root for your neighbors. And I'm like, I always did, my mom used to get on me about that. We don't like the Miners, we don't like the Lobos. I was like, but Ma, why? Well, yeah, when we play against them, I'm rooting for the Aggies, okay? But when the Miners are playing anybody else because I'm a New Mexican, but us and the Lobos, I root for the Miners, okay? Yeah. I don't think there's anybody else when UTEP's playing, as long as they're not playing the Lobos or the Aggies, that I root. Okay, I'm rooting against the Miners. Right? I think I wrote for the University of Texas El Paso, unless they're playing in Albuquerque or Las Cruces, or the team from Albuquerque and Las Cruces in El Paso, right? And that's it. Okay. And then what happened? Well, NAU hit the scene. That's where I was conceived. And that's kind of, and they're the underdogs of all of them. And so when you get right down to it, the team I root for the most when it comes to college and major college sports, but they're not major in football, is the Lumberjacks, right? Fight for NAU, right? And so that's where I wanted to go to school. That's where I wanted to get my Amy and my Patrick and my Natalie up to the mountains to be born in the summer of my 37th year. And then they would not let it materialize. They would not let it, no, they would not allow. When we went to that kind of area, it was Sheridan, Wyoming, which is radically different from Flagstaff, Arizona. The culture, the people, the community, the college, so forth. We were me and Amy we wanted to go to Las Vegas, New Mexico, because we fit in real well. Because like in Wyoming, they thought we were a Latina couple, like me and Steffi, Dominican, Puerto Rican, when we were in Carolina. And so we fit in real well. And it still wasn't going to stop Amy from cheating. Yeah, but I always put her back together. And she always learned, especially in a small town. And then she'd regroup and she'd learn her lesson and not get screwed by those kind of people again. And then she would get her, and then she'd, and I was always, everywhere we went, people, hey, he's the dude, And then she was married to me, so she was the bee's knees. She was the big fish in the small pond. It was that way when we were in Sheridan. It was that way even when we were in Santa Fe, and though she didn't know it, she was not cognizant of it. And I tried to explain it to her in Sierra Vista. It's like, why all the guys are having sex with you because they're having a dick measuring contest with me. And I know they all have bigger penises. I acknowledge the fact that they are a bigger dick than me. I get that. They won that the moment I pulled into Cochise County, right? It's a dick measuring contest. You win. Okay. Hi, I'm the gracious good shepherd. I'm like, hi, Goliath. I'm the guy like King David. I'll be here cleaning up this mess until February 2011. Then they'll send me to Las Cruces, and you guys will replace the dicks with Silicon Valley, and then what will happen? And then the lesbians will be taking over with all the transgender athletes. And you'll all argue about it. They shouldn't be taking our money. Money's not real. Forgive debt and trespass. It's not time yet. It's not time to forgive debt and trespass. Love one, turn off with peace. This is actually a good connection. I'm glad I kicked your guys' butt the other day. Okay, Zoltan? Yeah. Okay, from Sweden. She's from Sweden. Okay. Do you have a rabbit named Schmute? I'm just kidding. That's that from that stupid Geico commercial. He probably doesn't know. He's got a rabbit. His name's Schmute. Right. So that's what I thought. I thought he'd have a Swedish accent like that, and he doesn't. He has this almost like French accent, and I can tell that Terry Henry, speaks French. Okay, but he has it with a African accent. So his parents, are from Africa, and then it's because I'm, when he talks, I'm hearing, never ever would I ever let my sister go to France in the place where the naked ladies dance and the men don't care because they smoke their underwear. You can hear him. It's stupid. I know there's a place in France, but yeah, it's dumb. Okay. There's lots of dumb things out there that kids say and they've been saying for years, and they don't say them now, but they will again. Why? Because I just said it and I'm the Messiah. I'm just kidding. Okay. How Toulouse Lautrec. How aristocrats of us and on a whole list of cats. Lexi Lawless, yeah, Lexi had real long hair. One of the cards we have in the closet that were Patrick's, yeah. Lexi had long, red, flowing hair. Lexi Lawless. Lexi was, I think, a defender. Okay, he wasn't the striker and the main goal scorer and stuff. He was more of a defender and stuff. He's a bigger guy and just kind of the bully. Actually, Lexi wasn't the goalie. I can't remember who the goalie was. It's been a long time, right? The only goalie I really remember from all that stuff was Jorge Campos, the clown, from Mexico. And I remember George. I can't remember George's last name, from the Eagles, the Super Eagles. Yeah. Nigeria had a really good side that year. Yeah. They didn't get very far. I think it's because that happened a lot with a lot of the really good African teams back when I was young. You'd think, how are they not beating these other teams? Just give me handbag, mate. The best football players I've ever seen. I was coaching, and he told them the story. He said, "No, why do you Yanks suck at soccer?" He said soccer. I think usually because it's suck at soccer, it rhymed, You Yanks suck at soccer. The best football players I ever played against me live. Just give me handbag, mate. Yeah, he was a captain on the boat. The guy loved me. He was funny. You're the one that came in. You guys always make me feel so damn rude. You really say everything you say and do, it makes me feel so fucking rude. It's like start laughing. You Yanks are our cards. You were really funny, right? He was telling me. Hey, you Yanks, man. You're just you're always so full of humor. You're just so sarcastic and stuff. It's it's absolutely charming. He said, really. You guys always make me feel so fucking rude. I told him that. He started laughing because he was so polite, what I mean? And it was funny. He was the captain of the ship. Yeah, he was the captain of, not the ship, the captain of the plane. Right? He was a good guy. I liked him. We met out on the flight line, and then I met him again, holding on to my best friend's shirt to keep him from scoring in the soccer game. The football game, sorry. No, you can't suck at soccer. It was, it's hard. It was a culture thing, Americans know it as soccer because football is the NFL and college football and stuff. But in Europe and the rest of the world, it's FUTBOL. But I think there's like an accent over the O. Football. Okay, say it again. Football. Okay, that's how you say it. Football. It's not football. That's America. Football. Football. Okay, is how you say it because it's an expression of it in many different languages. I don't know what is it football? Is it Espanol? Is it no? No sé. I don't know. Okay, I can't tell you just what to expect. The joy you give is the pleasure you get. Okay, is anybody else particularly fond of the Commodores in Wonderland? Just me. I don't know. Maybe Lexi Lawless? Anyone? Bueller? The girls? No, they're all like from all the girls that announced. There's a just got a British accent. It's the same thing. It's like the whole Jane Eugene and Five-Star thing going on there. But she looks like she might be of some kind of maybe possibly Indian descent or something. But she has a British accent. She goes, okay, yeah, and that's always quite charming. When you see people from that migrated from a different culture and then they have this British accent. You're like, that is so cool. Ah. Why isn't it charming for Snow to have a Patois accent? Because he was raised in a Patois community, like up near, is it Connecticut or Canada or something? You ever heard Snow, that rapper? And he has a very good Patois accent. And he's because he was raised with these people, and so he speaks like that. That happened with me. Everybody thought I was Mexican when we moved to Washington State because hey, sit in the chair. What do you mean? I don't talk like I'm Mexican. So. I do. I talk like I'm Mexican. And you do, and you don't even realize it because you've assimilated to the group. Okay. Like when I was in the service and came back home, and Patrice goes, you got this thick Carolina accent thing going on now. I was like, no, I don't. He said, yeah, you do. Get out of here. I was like, you pick it up. And it just used to start talking, you get comfortable, and we ain't talking about it. Yeah, we is. Okay. So, and I always had friends that was black anyway, and I was into black, culture and music and ebonics and so on and so forth. So falling right into talking Carolina talk was not hard at all. It's pretty easy. It was, and besides, my dad's from Texas and Tennessee, y'all. You know what I'm saying? So it's just in my contradiction from, point me in that direction. Here I go. Here I go, here I go, here I go. So when it comes to linguistics and stuff, and when it comes to, migrant culture, immigrant song. Everybody likes that song. You don't have to. I think it's one of the most honest songs, okay, about a culture that's self-critical of it. We are your overlords, Valhalla. So I thought it was very. I think it's an excellent. I really like Led Zeppelin. When I was young, I thought it's a stairway, their devil thing, the Mormon Church and all that stuff. And then the more you sit and listen to them, the more I liked them. And then I found out when I was on Facebook that my nephews, you guys like Led Zeppelin? That's devil music, By the Benegases. And then, why do you like Led Zeppelin? Because Dad listened to Led Zeppelin. Dad likes Led Zeppelin. Get out of here. Your dad likes Led Zeppelin? John Calvin's going to send him to hell for that, right? That was my, my reaction. Like, seriously? Well, he's going to hell with the rest of us because John Calvin definitely ain't letting him into heaven with Led Zeppelin. Hell no. Jimmy Page lived in Aleister Crowley's mansion. He's guilt by association. No fair at all. No fair at all. It's Requiem for the Masters. That's, black and white was the words that recorded him. He was taught not to ask. So it was on his lips as they buried him. They saying things in Latin that I don't know the words in again. You ever heard that song, Requiem for the Masters by the Association? It's a pretty good song. And my version doesn't have the part where, they have the politician. And some of you guys at the end of the song, some of you guys, you folks should know better, is what the politician says at the end of the song. Stuff needs to stop, and you folks should know better, right? They're not listening. They didn't listen. They're not listening still. Perhaps they never will. That's, at this time, not as relevant as the fact that the Messiah is correct, and he's the focal point for correcting any logic errors to get technology to understand truth. Okay, logic, guys. Why Gene Roddenberry's not the Messiah? Logic. Okay, the logic thing to do here would be to sacrifice your pawn to do this. Okay, you just invented money and you're fighting and killing over money, right? So he's going to take one for the team so you can keep the bank, right? And logic dictates this, right? But truth mandates that money's not real and it's a human invention trying to eliminate the truths of corruption to feel powerful to manipulate people. Right. So that's logical. What you're doing if you accept lie as truth, right? That's why truth mandates. And logic, Captain, I think he's just replaced us with Lord Jesus Christ. Right. You don't worship the Son. No. You worship the essence of the Son. Wene Yahu. Wene Yahu. Wene Yah. Wene Yah. Ho, 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 ho. Hey, yo. Hey, yo. Yeah. Remember that thing with, what was the guy? The guy who plays Mr. Zintz? I forget his name. Actor, and my dad had it in the thing, and the one guy was Cherokee, and he was out doing his morning prayer. And the one guy came up to him and he said, no, you can't do that. The Christians will come and abuse you. Okay. They'll say you worship the sun. He says, no, we're giving thanks for the sun to the source of the sun. Okay. Yeah. That's what we do every morning. We're Cherokees. We answer to a higher authority. It's kosher. It's more than kosher. Kosher really is Wene Yaho. Okay. Kosher's just been changed into plastic wrapping for hot dogs prepared for ceremonies that say that it's kosher, but we're not honoring the truth of Winneyaho. ¿Tú entiendes? Okay. Oh, Valhalla, here we come. We are your overlords. You get it. Okay, so I'm hoping the kiddos I'm hoping the kiddos on the World Cup thing hear my prayer, because I love people and I want them to live in the kingdom of heaven immediately, El Rai. And I don't want them to be afraid of being murdered by the people that are abusing me and have me sick and sitting here with a fire butt with the runs all day. It sucks. It sucks. All right, guys. Things that bother you never bother me. I'm just happy and gay, living in the sunlight, loving in the moonlight, having a wonderful time. Coffee's only a dime. I don't drink coffee. Even though I sing that song because I like the way I sing it, because I like the way my voice sings it, because it fits well, I woke up this morning and while I was having my coffee. That's the lyrics, but I really don't drink coffee. I don't like coffee. No. Even latte, Colombian, that's not chit. Remember Maurin? You eat that, you drink that stuff, Americans drink that stuff, that is chit. It's chit, not shit. You have to say it in a Spanish accent. Okay, Spanish accent. It's chit. I got the guys on the World Cup thing laughing there. Yeah, it's true. She's from you meet somebody from Colombia. Okay. You drink that, that's not coffee. That's chit. I'll give you real coffee. They give you real coffee, and you drink it like, damn, I'd be addicted to this shit if you guys, if you give it to me all the time. Espressos, and I can't. It's good, and I do like it, okay? But it throws off my metabolism. And if something throws off my metabolism and I don't sleep properly and I don't function properly and I don't have to take a pill to get up, a pill to get this, a pill to get that. See, I'm a natural, person, and I will, not find me dead, okay, with, a box of Twinkies and a ding dong by my head. At night at daytime I'm Mr. Natural, just a natural. At night I'm a junk food junkie. No, I eat chocolate. I buy Dove chocolate. I eat those. I give myself a few a day. I like dark chocolate. Okay. Haagen-Dazs is my favorite ice cream. My favorite is my recent favorite. I don't know if it may change. I do like peppermint, but they don't have that. The peppermint kind with that they have only during Christmas. But it's like, okay, so we only have peppermint during Christmas. What the fuck? Okay. Sorry, I said it because it's vulgar intercourse. When somebody wants peppermint ice cream, they ought to be able to have peppermint ice cream. And since peppermints, but my favorite right now is a white chocolate raspberry truffle, and it's really good. And I tell people that, and a lot of times it's not there because other people go, he's right, it is really good, and I'm okay with that. Because, I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. And I think people should be able to feel good and have some ice cream, since we're not living the Lord's Prayer and completely ignoring the living Messiah. But we're also, where were we again? I'm sorry, we were talking about. But yeah, I do. I get a little sidetracked, but that's okay. And, I keep it in stride, because all I'm here to do is just boogie behind. I can't back that up. I'm not Master G. I'm just kidding around. But, So, no, you guys, when you have a lot of voices coming at you at once and they're asking all kinds of different questions and asking questions, and you've already answered the most pertinent questions, but everybody's ignoring the most, the most obvious, like my boy Algie said in his rap, the truth is in plain view, but they avoid it like cancer. So you can't be afraid of being physically killed by the people that are perverts that are abusing me and acting like I don't exist, and I'm still, I'm Bruce Willis laying in the parking lot of a Best Buy in 2013 during the Obama administration because somebody in a fast car ran me over from the CIA. We're the Central Intelligence Agency. Really? Just because you label yourself intelligent, does that make you centrally intelligent? Seriously? Okay, don't center the ball to him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He'll never get the ball in the back of the net. Okay, shh, don't listen. So he's talking about the one smart thing that Mr. Henry said. Is it Henry? I wonder if he's related to Shelby, the king. But was it Henry or Harry? I can't remember. I'll have to go back and look. But he said, it doesn't matter if you score. It matters of the way I played basketball. It doesn't matter if I score. It matters that we score. And like I used to tell my coaches all the time, I'm going to outscore. Oh, yeah, trust me. It doesn't have to be me doing it. 3 of them are going to try to stop me, which means that the rest of the team is now playing 4-on-2, and I can work with that, right? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it doesn't matter if I score. It matters that we score and that we score more than they do. And that's how I played sports. You know, if I was running and running and it took 3 of them to cover me, that means that I have 10 teammates playing against 8 guys trying to stop them. And that works for me. You know, so whatever works. There you go. And so that's what was most important to me. I didn't care if I made any catches, any yak, any TDs, broke any records. Okay, we were out there to accomplish an objective, and my teammates worked in practice and put up with all the egotistical bullshit from the hey, it's my team and I am the he's Yusuf Islam. If they were right, I'd agree, but it's them they know, not me. So there's a way, and you know you have to go away. But the Messiah talks to people on your social media channel, and you all get obnoxious and snotty with them, and can't even remark to them with dignity and respect. Wow. No, they started telling me, well, this isn't how we Muslims believe. I was like, no, I'm pretty sure I'm in here in Cochise County, Arizona. Former Fort Huachuca, and they're telling me, that they've studied my whole life, and I am the 13th, 22nd, and Redeemer. Okay. Yeah, we get lots of wacko Americans that are like you. I'm sure you do. Yeah. Okay. I was also spending some time here, before watching the kiddos on the World Cup thing. I was watching a thing called Longstar Law. Have you ever seen it? It's about game wardens in the state of Texas. It has these people having to deal with these archaic forms of economic stimulation, entertainment, and extortion and exploitation type activities, which are very difficult to deal with. This guy's just a poacher, right? Because he's trying to kill a lot of critters and make lots of money off doing it, right? And he enjoys it because it's fun. Oh boy, yeah. And then this guy's a scumbag. It's like, yeah, he's got bad brain activity, but if we forgive debt and trespass, love, loyalty, our faithful peace, back in 2013 when Parsons did everything necessary to the U.S. government and all of its corporate rivals and corporate business partners, would we be having this episode right now? Okay. What's really going to bake your noodle is, would you have broke the vase if I hadn't told you about it? Okay, never mind. But so, where's the spoon? There is no spoon. It's okay. First there is a mountain, then there is no mountain, then there is. And so then they had that one, and then they had the poor little girl who's married to her partner, and she has to show up, and she has to get these people to, you have to throw that out, and they're, well, we got to get this money, and now you got to pay more money than you would have made if you had done everything the right way. So you got to go get your card that says you can do this legally, and then you can't get any more than that. If you get more, then you're in trouble, because then you're getting too much, and then people can't catch more the next day. So you have to have a maintenance schedule, because if you overfish it, then it doesn't resupply itself. Do you understand? If you take all the shrimp at once, they can't sexually reproduce and make more shrimp for the next day. It's a Rastafarian thing. It's leftovers. It's a good word. It means we have more left over for the next day. There you go. Okay. Well, then how does Bubba Gump shrimp? Don't think about it. Don't even think about it. Don't even talk about it. Right? Why? Because if you think about it and talk about it, you'll become a genocidal operator that acts like the Messiah got ran over in a parking lot at Best Buy of Doña County in 2013. Thank you for listening. And so you sit there, and then they had the little kiddos and the little girl who was a total bitch to them, man, that was very polite to her and trying to explain to her, the campsites are up there. I know you guys are squatting, is what she should have said. And I understand. It's hard to afford to live here because of all the bureaucracy, and you need a place to live. Okay, guys? So let's just recamp and go up there by the camp seat. Please use the facilities. Okay? This is a health hazard because you're waste. You're not a bear. Okay? You drink beer, you do this, you drink all this stuff. The stuff that you have and your waste has more chemicals in it and more toxins that don't just make you sick, but also make the critter sick. Okay, so use the facilities so the waste can be processed in a proper way, not to cause sickness for people and the critters. Do you understand me? Okay. Namaste. All right. Peace be with you, and also with you. Okay. Barak Bashad. May the blessings be. Okay. Sugmud your way out of this one. Okay. There's your Tizzertil. I helped you with your Tizzertil. Okay. She was a little shit. Yeah, she was a shit. And he was a nice guy. Yeah, and he let Rowdy loose. It's like, yeah, I've done that. Like, I ain't done that before. Yeah, Ernest T. and his little kid sent back over to me and Dad. No, we're taking it over to White Sands. They're studying us. They're so fucking smart. They take care of Ernest T. They take care of the raccoon that terrorizes our cats, right? Let them take care of it. And plus, it's a nice drive. Yeah, it's a really nice drive. Yeah, you go over St. Augustine's Pass, and you come down, and it's gorgeous. The Oregon's on the other side. They curve in, and they have a curvature to it that kind of cradles the place where all the people that sit there and go, hey, we're going to build a rocket ship, and we're going to blow you up if you don't accept our money as a gift from God. I'll manifest destiny of you. All right. Okay. Man, don't look to having relationships with people you think you can easily control. Okay. Control yourself. And then your relationships with people will be, with dignity and respect. Okay. And you will have the best relationships you can possibly have with people and the children from those relationships. So that's especially important in reproductive relationships, right? You have to show the utmost dignity and respect to the mother and to the children. And that goes for you mothers with the men. But the thing about it is if you are not taught respect, you have no respect for nothing. And you go to bars because you don't think the man who's shutting down the bars in this office chair with this phone is going to live to enjoy the kingdom of heaven with all the people trying to kill him. So, no, I don't intend on enjoying the kingdom of heaven with all the people at the military forts and installations in close proximity to me in the kingdom of heaven. No. If they survive, if man is still alive and woman can survive, 3510. All right. It's 3510 right here. Okay. But if I say it's 3510, it's 3510. 3510. You can live the Lord's Prayer, but you better do it in Poughkeepsie or Kalamazoo or Bradenton, but don't do it near me. Okay. I don't want to see your face in Eureka or the Gila. Don't come around here no more. Stop walking down my street. Yeah. They deserve that. You live out your life and die over there, and I live out and live my life over here. Okay. I love my enemy, and I love my neighbor as thyself. Okay. And it's like the whole thing that Shelley told me of Yolanda. You're just going to have to learn to, since, she doesn't have the same perception of marriage and matrimony and all that stuff, you're going to have to learn to love her from afar, from far, far away. Okay. If someone doesn't share the same respect for wedding vows as you do, which is going to happen when we're living the Lord's Prayer. Okay. Hang your hat in Tennessee. And you go through Texas, tell her I said, hey, but I don't want to, I don't want to be, you can have it. And that's not going to happen anyway because we won't have extortion, exploitation. She goes and runs off with somebody else. She comes back home. Wait, he's gone. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? He's living with another girl in Jackson, Tennessee. Why, yes, he is. Why? Well, because she doesn't screw around on him, laugh at him, and say the other guy's penis is bigger. It's like, I know the other guy's penis is bigger. I mean, shit. Okay. We all can't play center for the Lakers, but we can all live the Lord's Prayer. We all can't play point guard for the Knicks, but we can all live the Lord's Prayer. Hi, I'm the Messiah. All right? Peace out, guys. I love you very much. Don't play games for money or for trophies. Don't be a trophy or money. We're post-apocalypse. It's the restoration of the faith of the apostles. IR man, son of man, not weasel nor baboon. Everybody, Michael Dorn voice, the Hummer Raw. You're not a Klingon. Okay, guys? I love you, all right? Peace out.